We start tonight with Kamala Harris holding her first campaign rally as the new de facto Democratic nominee for President of the United States. The vice president has secured enough delegate support to win the eventual roll call vote for her party's nomination. Today, Harris campaigning in Milwaukee, just days after Republicans named Donald Trump the Republican nominee in the same city. Harris, a former prosecutor, making the case against Trump.
Before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Harris also previewed some of the initiatives that she'd pursue as president.
We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. A future where no child has to grow up in poverty. Where every worker has the freedom to join a union. Where every person has affordable health care, affordable child care, and paid family leave. We believe in a future where every senior can retire with dignity. So all of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
And now Team Harris is raking in the endorsements and the money. The Harris campaign smashing fundraising records, raising $100 million in just 2 days. No candidate in history, not Trump, not Biden, not even Obama, has ever done that. Harris also won a flood of endorsements from elected officials, all of the country's Democratic governors, and the majority of Democrats in the House and the Senate supporting her. That includes the top 2 congressional Democrats. Earlier today, Senator Chuck Schumer and Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
Now that the process is played out, from the grassroots bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to.
Kamala Harris and her candidacy has excited and energized the House Democratic Caucus, the Democratic Party, and the nation. Vice President Harris has earned the nomination.
Meanwhile, President Biden returned to the White House today, COVID-free, according to his doctor. And tomorrow night, President Biden will address the nation from the Oval Office about his decision not to run for re-election. Joining me now to get us started, Howard Dean, former Vermont governor and chairman of the Democratic National Committee, and April Ryan, White House correspondent and D.C. bureau chief for The Grio. Her book is Black Women Will Save the World. It's my pleasure to have both of you tonight. Howard, I'm going to start with you. Look, you ran the DNC. So what's your take on the Harris launch so far?
Stunningly amazing. It is. I mean, I knew there was going to be a lot of enthusiasm. I had no idea that she was going to get more than half the delegates in 3 days, nor raise $100 million. So the party has got what it needed. We've come together, and And, April's book is going to be exactly right. Black women are about to save the world.
April, Kamala Harris, as I noted, setting records not only for fundraising, but for support. But I guess to Howard's point, you're not really surprised by the response so far, are you?
No, I wrote a book about it. And Governor Dean is absolutely right. But seriously, she is a woman who has this momentum, this energy that no one thought. They omitted her at the beginning when they were thinking about telling the president to step aside. They omitted this woman. And now this woman is about to save the party. $100 million. She beat out Barack Obama just in 2 days. And she is on pace to potentially get the number of delegates that Joe Biden had before he left the race. And that was 3,900 delegates at the time. So she is on pace to get the majority, if not all, of his delegates. So she has the momentum. She actually has a chance now. People were saying, oh, who has the chance to beat Donald Trump? It looks like Kamala Harris does.
You know, Howard, Kamala Harris is leaning into her background as a prosecutor when she attacks Trump. In your mind, is that going to be an effective strategy for undecided voters?
It's going to be incredibly effective for undecided voters. Trump's biggest vulnerability is that he's now an adjudicated convict. And that makes people really, really uncomfortable. So he's got his core MAGA people, and you can't move them no matter what you do. But she is now making the case. The whole race has shifted in an incredibly unexpected way. And she has really come out of the box hard. The Democrats really, really wanted somebody to unite them. She's the candidate for a variety of reasons, one of which is she's actually been in office for 3.5 years. It actually knows, not only knows a lot of the foreign leaders, she knows and gets along well with all the foreign leaders that couldn't stand Donald Trump. I mean, this is really a breath of fresh air for the country and for the party.
April, her potential VP picks, I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches, in my opinion, but they've been out on TV since she jumped into the race. Take a quick listen.
President Biden yesterday endorsed Vice President Harris, as did I, as did many across this country.
I'm excited to fully endorse Vice President Harris as for the next president of the United States.
I want to make sure that Kamala Harris wins. I'm going to work for her all over this country and do what I can to make sure we stop Donald Trump.
April, I want to get your thoughts on who you think is the right pick for Harris.
Well, we are still in a time where there are still people who are kind of gun shy for pushing a woman totally. They need a man on the ticket, unfortunately. They need a white man from the South on the ticket to balance the ticket out. You know, there are so many people who talk, Governor Dean, you're laughing, but it's the truth, and you know it. But unfortunately, we're still in that time. But, you know, there are some people who said, oh, what about 2 Black women? No, it cancels it out in this moment in 2024. A Black woman and a Black man, no, it cancels itself out. She needs a Southern white male to balance out the ticket. And she has got her people. They are looking, they're vetting, and she's going to make the right choice for a win for Donald Trump. And people are supporting her. And it's not just Black people. It's white women. It's white men. It's people from all races. She has got that special juice at this moment.
So, Howard, I want to put the same question to you. If you were providing counsel at this time to Kamala Harris, what would it be when it comes to a VP pick?
It would be, who do you have the best personal chemistry with? That's really, really critical. I think one of the reasons that Kamala has become an incredibly successful candidate is that Biden had great chemistry with her. And when you have great chemistry with your vice president, you bring them into the circle. They start to learn as much as you do as the president of the United States. Biden's got a 50-year career in politics. And Kamala Harris is now the beneficiary of having worked very closely with somebody with that kind of experience. So I did chuckle. I think April's probably right. But, one of the things about Harris that I think we haven't talked about very much and hasn't been the subject of a lot of talk is I think this woman is going to energize the Generation Z and the young voters. They are kind of tired of the 2 white guys from the South kind of stuff. And I think I think she has more latitude than we might normally have thought. That is a different generation than my generation that thinks more about that kind of ticket balancing. And not to say it's not true. I mean, there's certainly plenty of racism left in the country and so forth. But the racists are all gone. They're going to be in the MAGA movement. That's what that's about. But I think she's got latitude, and what I hope she does is pick somebody who's going to be really attractive to young people. Because if we get young people out to vote, we're already going to get women, we're already going to get African Americans, we're going to get a pretty good dent in the South Asian community. If we get young people, we win this going away.
April, so it's a sprint now to Election Day. You've only got 105 days left. What does Kamala Harris need to do with that remaining time?
She needs to show her record. She needs to make people love her. She needs to make people understand she is the one for this moment to take this country forward economically, fighting any kind of pandemics, world issues, etc. She has the experience. And prosecutorially, as she said, she is the prosecutor against the felon. But here's the big piece. Tomorrow, she is going to the Zeta Phi Beta sorority Brule. And I talked to the international president and CEO, Dr. Stacey Grant, who says she's going to be speaking to 6,000 to 8,000 Black women of all ages. And she is going to talk about the delegates. She's going to talk about the way forward and the successes of the Biden administration. This is a moment for Kamala Harris to shine. And she's shining. She's got success after success after success. And we are watching the moment that Kamala Harris is moving into the Democratic convention to seal the deal to potentially run against Donald Trump to become the president of the United States. So tomorrow is going to be a big deal for her with the Divine Nine group.